saying that you're going to sneak punch a drunk dude is not a flex. To me, that is a big move. Why is it so difficult for us as a community to allow anyone to step in and assist young men, our young men? Why is there such a negative connotation for someone stepping in for a young man? And more importantly, what we need to dissect is, why is it more of an issue if it's a woman that's doing it? And just in my personal experiences, and it's because I am physically incapable of allowing bullshit to transpire. I'm going to say something. If somebody's saying something to somebody, if it's verbal, if it's emotional, if it's physical, I'm going to say something. And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I get some negative pushback and some negative feedback. And it's 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, I'm not going to sit here and lie, 10 times out of 10, it's from men. And I want to know why. And I want to know why because I'm genuinely curious. However, it is not going to change how I deal with situations. But I want to understand some of you, and I want you to kind of understand where someone like me is coming from as well. And the reason why I'm asking this question, and I want to open the discussion up, is because back in April 26, 2024, 2025. God dang. 2025. It's about to be 2026. Yeah. So back in April of 2025, I took my son to the Kendrick Lamar concert. Now, let me not lie and act like I did that by myself. Me and my wife went to the concert with Ace. And because Kendrick's his favorite rapper and he loves SZA. So 2 birds, 1 stone. Anywho, we actually had told our friends that we were going, and their son is also into some of the same type of artists. Kendrick, he likes music, but they both like Tyler, things of that nature. But we all go to this concert, and we do all the things. Well, we do all the things. We got there on time. Of course, he was late because he rode with his dad, and we do all the things. We do the merch. We get drinks before. We're watching, the DJ that is outside before they actually open the doors. All of the good stuff. Because they were late, I ended up getting his shirt. And what I'm gonna try to do in this situation, because we've had this discussion before as like friends about this issue, not this issue, but this particular incident. But I haven't told them that, hey, I'm gonna talk about this on an episode of my podcast. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use any names, because I haven't cleared it with them that they want their names used. So if I do slip up, I will bleep out names. So if you do hear like a brief silence, that's what that's from. Anyway, back to the story. So we go to the Kendrick and SZA concert, and great show, packed house. It was great. And it's time to leave. And this is where it starts to get dicey. So we are leaving, and of course my wife has to pee. She always has to pee. And Ace has to pee as well. So they are going to go to the restroom together. I am still walking, well, kind of like waiting around with my friend's son, and her husband is there as well, because he's the one that brought him to the concert. And we are waiting, and in any situation, whether I go to a restaurant, if I go to a movie theater, if I am at the gas station, I am always aware of my surroundings, and I am people watching. I am constantly people watching. And out of my peripheral, coming from the left side, I see this drunk Mexican dude. And grown man, let me preface that, grown man. And I'm just like, damn, he had a good time, because they were not stingy with the alcohol at this concert. But anytime I go to anything at that AT&T Center, they are not stingy with the liquor. But he's drunk. So I notice this drunk guy, walking. But I start to notice that he's just coming closer and closer to me and my friend's son. And I'm just like, okay, well, you know how you see that you can tell somebody's getting ready to say something to you? And my antennas are already up. So he comes up to him and he says, hey, what size is that shirt? And when I tell you, I was screaming on the inside, do not tell this man what size shirt that is. What does he do? Large. It's an extra large. And I'm just like, dang, like we gotta talk about that later in the night. You're not supposed to do that. But no harm, no foul. So the guy's like, hey, let me buy that shirt from you. And the reason why he wants to buy this shirt is because he had the SZA shirt. I think it had like ladybugs or butterflies, some type of bug on it, but it was the SZA shirt. And that shirt completely sold out. So people, when they want, it's merch, it's memorabilia. He wanted to buy the shirt. And my friend's son, it was like, oh, it's not for sale. I want to keep it. So the guy goes, hey, I'll give you 200 for it. $200 for a t-shirt is crazy, but he's drunk, right? And so he's like, no, I want to keep my shirt. And at this point, I take a step towards them, even though I wasn't that far away. I was still within arm's reach, but I take a step towards them because I don't like this guy's demeanor, and he's drunk. And so when he walks up to him and tells him that, he like walks into his chest and was like, let me get that. You know what I mean? Let me get that. And he goes, now come on. My money good, my nigga. My money's good, nigga. And I'm like, who the fuck are you talking to? I say this in my head. I do not say it out loud, but that is what I'm saying in my head. And my friend's son gets this look like he freezes. He doesn't know what to do. And so I step in between. I'm like, hey, that's a child. You need to move around. And he's like, no, I'm just saying. He's not talking to me. He's talking to him again. And he's like, come on, nigga, my money good. That is a child. You do not refer to him in that way. You shouldn't be referring to anybody in here in that way. Don't talk to him like that. You need to move around. Please move. So he proceeds to start moving, but he takes that long, that wide turnaround. So of course I am sitting here watching him the entire time. And I'm watching him because I don't know who this dude is in here with. He is adamant about this t-shirt. So I'm trying to make sure that he don't come from behind him and snatch his shirt or punch him or something and take his shirt. So I'm watching him the entire time. And it is very difficult to keep eyes on someone when I'm trying to figure out what they're doing. But I'm also still worried about my wife and my child coming back from the bathroom. And at the same time, I'm trying to figure out where the fuck your dad is in this whole situation. And so I'm like, come on, child whose name I cannot say. There's Asa, there's Jasmine. Let's start moving. So as they're coming up, his dad is coming as well. And I tell Ace and Jasmine what happened. And immediately Ace is looking around like, where is the dude? I don't know what my son was getting ready to do. He's a very large human, but we don't need that today. Anyway, so my son is like, well, where's Mr. Insert father's name? And I'm like, that is a good fucking question. I look around and there he is. And I look at him, I go, where the fuck were you? And he was like, Oh, I was back here. I was watching. I saw the whole thing. What do you mean you saw the whole thing? He was like, I just wanted to see what he was going to do. Who? You want to see who was going to do? Because either person in that party, there's not a reason to sit and wait to see what's going to happen. We don't want to see what the drunk man is going to do that is just referred to your son as a nigga and you didn't say anything. You sitting back here watching. Maybe you didn't hear it. I don't know. But at the same time, we are not going to sit here and see what he's going to do because he is a child. And you know what he did? And it's no fault of his own. He folded. He folded, which is okay. We can talk about that later. We can go over how you're supposed to handle these situations. But he folded. That was not something he was getting ready to get out of on his own. So, and he and we're not arguing. We're just going back and forth about how the situation was handled. And my thing was just like, it does not matter. You shouldn't have sat back and just watched that happen. But at the same time, I'm not worried about it because I didn't need you to do that. But at the same time, that's your child. And as I say that, I know somebody's going to be like, well, that's his child and that's how he wanted to handle that situation. I don't care. I do not care. That is not a situation to where you sit back and watch what happened. There were 49,672 people at that show. 49,672 people at that concert. And we are all trying to leave at the same time. My son had already said he was getting ready to shoulder check somebody because I got bumped as we was pulling him out. And I don't know what it is when teenage boys get that testosterone and they want to start protecting their mom, but shit is scary because they don't know how strong they are. And I don't think they can handle all their emotions at one time. And that's just me. But anyway, back to what's really important. So to me, that is not a situation to where we sit and try to have a life lesson. This is not a playground. They're not at the basketball court. They're not at the Y. They're not at the gym. They're not even at school. And even at school, you don't want to be starting something in the middle of the hallway. And so he was just like, well, I was going to sneak him. Sir. Okay. This is just me. This is my opinion, my thoughts, and how I view things. I am not trying to offend anyone, but if you are offended, okay. But to say you are going to sneak punch somebody, to passion, that is a bitch move. And even more so, his rationale was, oh, he was drunk. He was going to be easy to drop. I done handled dudes like him before. Again, not a flex. Most people that I know personally, that I've grown up with, and we've been through some things together and like things that we've been exposed to. If somebody is super, super drunk, you don't fight them. You're going to hurt them. So if they can't defend themselves and it's just like a verbal altercation, like I'm not getting ready to fight you because you're going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get hurt. But anyway, that's just it. To me, that's not a flex, right? And then again, 49,672 people are trying to leave the AT&T Stadium. Like, we don't know who this man is. We don't know who he's with. All I know is that I am in here with my son, who I am here to protect, my wife, who can handle her home, but at the same time, I am here to help protect. And I'm here with your son and you. That is it. So I'm not in a position to where I need somebody that I'm with to sneak punch some random dude in the middle of 49,672 people. That's not on my list of things to do this Saturday. And I say that because of crowd control, of like the mob mentality. Like, it takes one thing. I've seen shit go awry from someone getting bumped accidentally. And so everybody's already in here drunk because they were not stingy with the liquor. And everybody's just ready to go. Like, concerts are great until it's time to leave. Then you got to realize, like, damn, I got to go wait for my shuttle, or I got to walk 2 miles back to my car. Like, it's the highest coming down. So if you were to do something like that in the middle of that many people, there's no telling what would have happened. Like, what type of danger we all would have been in, what type of danger we're putting everybody in, because we are going to start a fight in the middle of 49,672 people. So as we're leaving, he and we're not arguing. We are just discussing what just happened. And I am still trying to figure out why you were nowhere to be found. Not saying that I needed you, but in my mind, that is your child. You should have been the one that stepped in. And in his mind, I'm gonna try to let him see how he's gonna handle it. He folded. Again, he folded, which is nothing wrong with that. He just didn't know how to handle that situation. Like, he's 15 at the time. I think the boys were 15, and it's a grown drunk man wanting his shirt, asking him for his shirt. And to me, like, every situation, I'm going to take every situation on its own. Everything cannot be handled the same way. And that's where we left it, right? And no hard feelings, nothing like that. That happened the last week of April, last week of April. My birthday dinner was the first week of June. My birthday is the first week of June. And there at my birthday dinner, not the son, just the dad and his wife, who was one of my best friends. And me and her get to talking, and somehow we come up about the concert. I think someone asked us about the concert, but she was like, yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that because insert father's name made it seem like it was XYZ. And I told her what happened. And he and my cousin both said I was wrong. Said I was wrong for stepping in. I should have let him handle that situation. And I don't think I'm not going to say I got mad. I just got agitated because, one, my cousin knows me. He knows me better than a lot of people on this planet. And insert father's name, my good friend, he knows me as well. I'm not getting ready to sit back and watch any bullshit transpire. Even if it was them, like, I would have said something. Like, if that dude would have said something to my cousin, I would have said the exact same thing. Who the fuck are you talking to? You need to move around. He doesn't want to sell you his shirt. Move around. He probably would have been like, all right, sweets, like, I got it. All right. And just like, no, I'm here. Doing some backup, but we're not fighting. You know what I'm trying to say. So they proceed just telling me I'm wrong. And so I get agitated and I said, you know what? Y'all can't take my son anywhere. And I meant that. And I mean that with anybody. If I can't trust that you're going to keep my child safe, they don't need to go anywhere with you. Not like that. And I stand on that. And I think I kind of pissed both of them off when I said that, because it got really quiet afterwards, but I didn't care. But I want to know, what is the issue, right? I understand that kids have to learn life lessons, but every situation should not be a life lesson to where we're telling them, hey, you need to figure it out. Sometimes the life lesson, or the lesson they need to learn, is from observing us. And I think a lot of times we forget how much we have learned from our parents, our grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, all of that, just strangers in general, from just watching situations. And at the same time, and this is the really weird thing, I think last week I talked to my therapist about this. Like, that's how much it didn't bother me, but We talk about everything. So this came up, and she posed a very good question. She asked me, she said, did he teach him what to do in that situation? I'll wait, even though I know the answer. No. You know why? Because there was 49,672 people leaving a concert. There is no way in hell that you had a conversation with your child about something like that. Now, if it was a basketball court, then yeah, maybe you've had that talk. But not a grown, drunk man coming up to you in a crowd of 49,672 people. And I keep saying it like it was people were leaving, but you know what I'm trying to say. That's how many people were trying to leave this show. So get off of that. What I want to know is, why are we insisting? And I'm not trying to offend anybody. And if you are offended, this definitely isn't the place for you. But why are we trying to teach street lessons to suburban kids? A lot of times I feel like some of us that have grown up a certain way, we try to raise our kids like they're in those situations, and they're not. They are most certainly not. I am dealing with shit that I never thought I would deal with. I'm dealing with nerd drama. That's the type of stuff I'm dealing with. Like, I would have never thought that I would be in a situation to where I am having a conversation and I'm getting upset about someone stat padding. And I'm just using that because that's the way I can understand what was going on. Their grades in the race for valedictorian. And if somebody wants to know what I mean by that, please comment, and we can do I can do like a little mini, maybe 20, 25 minutes about that. But that's the type of stuff that I'm dealing with. So I'm not in a situation to where I'm having to tell my son of different things he needs to do at school to protect himself, because he's just not in that type of environment. I mean, we have conversations like when he was going from elementary to middle school, we had the conversation about shoes, because at that point he was taking care of his shoes, and, you know, we're going to buy you nice shoes and you're going to keep them nice. But if somebody asks you what size shoes you wear or what size of those shoes, this is how you respond. And we didn't have to deal with that 6th grade year, because that was the year that all the kids were at home. They were doing the virtual learning because of COVID. But lo and behold, when they went back, when my son was in the 7th grade, someone did ask him that. And his response was, try it if you want to. And that was all that happened. I asked him, he said, no, mama, nothing else happened. I just told him to try it if he wanted to. And I actually had that conversation with him. I was being serious, but at the same time, I never thought that he would have to deal with something like that on a real level. But I knew that these suburban kids, a lot of them want to be from the trenches, and I don't understand why. And they want to do things like they are. You live in the same homeowners association neighborhood that I do. What is wrong with y'all's kids? Anyway, but what I'm saying is, I have prepared him for something like that. I have never had a conversation with him about what to do if he's in a crowd of 49,000 people, because I wouldn't even know what to. I've never been taught that either. However, I do teach him to survey his situation, and that's what I did in that situation. Like, there was no reason for me to, like, the dude was so drunk, I could have beat him up. That's how drunk he was. So for a grown man to say that that's how we were going to handle that situation, no, because that was going to go left. That was going to go so far left. We was going to come back right to the same spot. We were just going to keep going in a circle. And we could have been the cause of so many other people getting injured or ruining someone else's night, because we're trying to teach a life lesson. And while we're teaching a life lesson, if this lesson goes left, we are going to almost incite a riot. So I'm going to stop talking so much about that story, but I do want to open this up for discussion, and maybe that's just what this is going to be. But I do want to know, is there an issue with stepping up for young men? And do you feel like there's an issue if it's a woman that's doing it? But at the same time, sometimes it'll be a woman that got the most heart out of anybody in your circle. That's gonna be a ride or die for everybody. And this is the thing. My friend knows. He knows that I ride or die. And if he lets me tell that story, now that one I will talk to him about. Because I probably won't be able to use his name because then y'all would know this story is about him too. Anyway, but he should already knew that I was going to say something, just because the way I roll and how I feel about that family and how I feel about all my friends. If I consider you a friend, like, I'm going to look out for your kids like they were mine. And I would expect the same. But at the same time, now I know if my son is somewhere with y'all, he is on his own. To me, he's on his own. But yeah. When do we stop the hard life and prepare them for the soft life? Or how do we mesh those two things together? Because at the same time, yes, these kids aren't growing up the way we did, but there are still things that they have to deal with. That's never going to change. We still have to teach them what to do if they get pulled over. I have the conversation with my son. You do not walk around the store for no reason. You do not window shop. Son does not window shop. If he's going to the mall, he's going to the mall to go shop. He is not going to the mall just to walk around. But he did go during the summer with some of his friends, but he actually bought something in whatever stores he went into. He bought something. So he was going to shop, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to say, that my son is not going to just be window shopping, because we don't want to open him up for a situation that, the way the world is and has been, that he has absolutely no control over. What he can control is him being in the store and not even looking to buy anything. He does not window shop unless he's with us. And when he's with us, he really don't want to be there, because now he got to try on clothes. But that's all I'm saying. I'm not gonna keep rambling, but I do want to know how you all feel about that. Drop a comment, send me a DM, anything. I don't know by the time I drop this if I would have like a little voice line where somebody could call in and just leave me a voicemail. But I do want to take that instance and then open it up for a bigger conversation for us when it comes to raising, young men, and when is it okay to step in for them and protect them, and when do we need to let them figure it out? And maybe that's something I'm always going to struggle with because of these situations with my brothers, or me having a son myself, and I am always going to protect him. I'm always going to protect my siblings. I'm always going to try to protect anybody that's with me in any way I can, or just to let them know that they're not out there by themselves. So that's it. That's all for that. I know it was a ramble, but I really wanted to get that out there and try to see, what kind of conversations we can have in understanding each other. And again, this is just how I feel and how I handle situations. I am open to discussion, because at the end of the day, you guys are going to handle it the way you would, and I'm still going to respond to it the way I would. And I think it just depends on how you were brought up and your life experiences. And at the same time, like, some people just don't like to get involved in anything. I'm not one of those people. But yeah, Let me know. This will probably be cut up. Hopefully I got the story good. Hopefully I don't have to do this again.